got up early and we're in the city just after 8 AM. And we're going to the quieter gate too, hoping to be able to get some tickets to walk the walls. It's about a 2-hour loop if you stop and look at a few things on the way. So we wanted to get here before it gets too hot, before it gets too busy. So to come up on the walls is horrendously expensive, and that's deliberate. They keep putting the price up every year to try and limit the number of people on the walls, because they get over 1 million people walking the walls every year. So we're about to go to the top of that tower, which is the highest point and has the best view. Right, so this is the highest point in Dubrovnik. Apparently you can still see some damage from when the Yugoslav forces fired their artillery into the city back in the 90s, because they parked it just up on the hills. I don't think these ones here, but one's just a little bit behind, and fired into the city for no real reason, because there was no military targets here, but it was more out of retribution. But Dubrovnik has a similar history to Kotor, where we were just at. So these walls were built between the 12th and the 16th centuries, and then upgraded through to the 17th centuries as well. It was ruled by the Venetians at one time. It's always been a strong port town. So we're just taking a short sunscreen and water break.
And food break.
And food break before we head down. And you can see just the crowds and crowds of people on that side of the wall, because that's the main gate into the city, and that's where everyone generally starts their wall tour. So because we started it round over at that one, we were effectively ahead of everyone, so we've had no one so far until we hit that main gate. So our ticket gives us entry to that fort up there as well. We'll probably go there another day when we come back into the city. That's one of the main thoroughfares in the city. We haven't actually walked into the city yet, only done the walls, but this will give us a good overview. We're on the seaside now. So we're going to go to that island out there. There's a monastery and some nature trails and gardens, and a few other things. You can catch a ferry from the old town port. So we finished the walls. We said we were going to take 2 hours. How long did it actually take us? What's the time? 20 to 10. But we didn't start at 20 to 8. So it only took us about just under an hour and a half. See this place from the wall.
So that's what we just walked on. That big long wall.
No, you can't. No.
Right over there. And we are very hot.
So there's a map of the attack on Dubrovnik. So the kids are happy. We found a playground in Park Pile. Made it to the top of the fort with a look back over the city.
And that's what we walked on.
That's what we walked on, that's right.
And we were somewhere down there.
A lot of stone cannonballs. So all those people are lining up to get the selfie shot on the end of the pier. And this is what happens when you spend 8 months walking around cities with cobblestones, intensive heat. Spotted out our window, 2 pirate type ships passing each other. So another interesting view out the window, the Norwegian Gem cruise ship. So the beach is a little bit busier today, being a much sunnier day. So our Uber driver was a nice guy, he gave us lots of tips for the island, Lokrum Island. So we're just walking down to the old port now to catch the ferry across. It's a little bit overcast, which is good, because hopefully it's a bit cooler as we walk around the island.
This is like one time.
Of course, there's lots of Game of Thrones paraphernalia around, being filmed here. On our way to Lokrum Island. So our Uber driver was telling us that Lokrum Island kind of acts like their city park, since they don't really have any city parks. There's a monastery and there's a fort. I think the fort was really built during the time of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. But apparently Richard the Lionheart, King Richard III, also landed on this island after he got shipwrecked and promised to build a church on the first point he landed.
When you're 16, is it on your 16th birthday that family link?
So at one stage, Archduke Maximilian of the Austrian Empire owned the island. There you go, Queen Maddie. Queen Maddie the Violent. So there's lots of peacocks on the island.
And there's a baby one.
And there's a baby one. And there's a baby one right here. So this is the Dead Sea. Still salty. Those kayakers have disappeared into that cave. So, buckle your seat belts, Breetventures. We're going up to that fort, just at the top of that hill.
So where are we now?
We're in the botanical gardens, heading towards the olive grove, and then the path of paradise, which leads up to the fort, which is the highest point on Lokrum Island. Devon's a little pilgrim on the path of paradise. Almost at the top of Fort Royal. It's hot, it's steep, but we're making it.
How it is.
Cool, almost bell-shaped interior. And this is the best view over Dubrovnik and the Adriatic. That's back towards the old town, just over the water. We've found a holy tree. We've found our beach for the next couple of hours or so.
Okay. Yeah, like.
Ooh. made it to the beach.
Daddy, what if you only went back and got all of our dogs and cows? It's
Potentially our last swim in the sea. So we're just enjoying our last day here in Dubrovnik.